Choices, choices, choices. On August 15th, Mercury, the planet of communication, media, and yes, trickery, squares the nodal axis. This is particularly interesting because Mercury is currently ruling the North Node, which is traveling through the sign of Gemini. We also then simultaneously have the South Node in Sagittarius. We've been working with the themes of this axis since May of 2020, like right around the beginning of May of 2020. And this axis theme is all about truth and information. So the North Node in Gemini is really inviting us to open our minds, to adopt a multifaceted viewpoint, to understand that there's multiple different ways of looking at something, and that there are multiple streams of consciousness and ideas and misinformation even that we are ingesting on a day-to-day basis. The South Node in Sagittarius is very opinionated. And so simultaneously, while we're being invited to learn and unlearn, we're also, holding tight to these beliefs. And we see so pervasively right now how divisive things are ideologically. People are holding very strong opinions. And, opinions, especially when thinking about it from the sign of Sagittarius, it's a fire sign. So there's something that we're passionate about, which may or may not be super well thought out. Sagittarius represents belief. And when you believe something, you don't necessarily need or care about having all the facts. And besides, is truth absolute? That's kind of what this axis is presenting right now. Is there an absolute truth? I think about Mercury squaring this nodal axis, and I think about how this is an opportunity to adjust our stance. This is an opportunity to choose. This is a choice. Mercury squaring the nodal axis really represents a choice. And there is kind of a deeper affinity with the North Node from Mercury, being that it rules the sign of Gemini, to maybe open our minds. Now, as we enter this fourth wave of the pandemic, and we're experiencing something totally different. I mean, in the beginning of the pandemic, no one really knew what was happening. It's actually pretty healthy to question. And that's what the North Node in Gemini wants us to do, is to question. But at the same time, we have more information now. All of us have formed beliefs about it to varying degrees. But, now at this point that we enter a fourth wave, we're dealing with something different. It's affecting the children. Mercury really represents children. And so this new information may be encouraging us to reconsider our footing, to reconsider our ideological stance. I know that a lot of people are going to be digging their heels in even deeper on this one, like they already are. We're already seeing this. But meanwhile, there's a lot of people who are saying, yeah, I'm ready to get the vaccine now. Before I wasn't sure, but now I am. And so Mercury squaring the nodal axis may be inviting us to change our mind, to be more open, to consider other points of view, to consider other streams of information. The difficult thing is that when we think about the South Node in Sagittarius, when we think about our beliefs, there is so much pride associated with our beliefs. And I think about us as human beings on this planet who have probably, I believe in reincarnation, had multiple lives here. And if you read my written version of this, I explain that, have you ever been accused of something that you didn't do? Have you ever been accused of something that is just so audacious that you would never think to do it? And, you want to defend that. You want to defend that with all your force, all of your life force. And I think that having that wound, that's one that I have, I don't think it's just my own. I think that we all may have that on this planet, where thinking about all the wars and all the movements that have been created because of someone's beliefs and not wanting to be opposed and not wanting to be wrong. And so there's been efforts throughout history, through every epoch, to convert people into your religion, or to convert people into your worldview, or to convert people into your way of thinking, or else persecute them. And so we all carry this innate, like, perhaps fear around speaking our truth or wanting to be wrong. And so being that these nodes are karmic, it may be pulling some of that up a little bit. And so you might want to explore where some of this resistance is really coming from. Where is this resistance coming from? Is it because I'm afraid to be wrong? Is it because I'm afraid to not know? Is it because I'm afraid to not know the answers? And where does fear come from? Obviously, it has everything to do with feeling safe and secure. And when you know, then you can feel safe and secure. But I think the hard part is admitting that we don't know. And that's kind of what the North Node in Gemini seems to be reiterating, is that, we don't know. Be curious, ask questions, continue to be curious about what's going on. I think it's also interesting to note that Jupiter rules the South Node. Jupiter has returned into Aquarius. And that's all about scientific. Being the sign of Aquarius is all about science, which is why science is such a hot topic right now. It's because Saturn is in Sagittarius and Jupiter has been there too. Jupiter's ingress into Aquarius, as we've talked about, had to do with the distribution and the availability of vaccines. And, now that this is being activated in another way with Jupiter returning into Aquarius, we're trying to think about how to protect these children. So science, the scientific method. The scientific method, if you don't remember from 5th grade, it's basically form a hypothesis, run the tests, and based on those results, you can adjust your hypothesis and ask new questions, or form a conclusion based on your findings. But the scientific method is to always question. And and so we can't really get stuck, even though Aquarius is a fixed air sign. It is like about fixed beliefs, but there's rationale behind it. There's objectivity behind it. And so, the air element is really begging us to continue to explore and to question and to be objective versus attaching blindly to a belief. So do your research, everyone. And I don't want to make anyone feel bad for being wrong. There's always a time where we're going to be wrong in our life. And hey, no one is God. No one has all of the answers. I never want to chastise someone for changing their mind. It's okay to change your mind. So that's what I would like to leave you with, is that it's okay to change your mind. And I know I've been using a lot of like real life, mundane examples, but this could apply to wherever this nodal axis is happening in your own chart. So take it and apply it to your chart and have a nice day. And that was your astrology shot of the day. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you want more astrology in your world, you can join me on Instagram, Twitter, and yes, even Patreon. I've got special offerings there. Also, you can connect with me on my website. You can book your reading there. You can also check out my classes and offerings. If you want to study the art of astrological forecasting, Timing with Transits is an 11-week mentorship, and that begins in 4 weeks. That begins on September 8th. So I hope to see you there.